Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing fine. I'm also okay. Recently, Rigathi Gachagua was all over castigating Jubilee and, of course, by extension, one Fred Matiangi. And he didn't like him. He didn't hide that. I shared with you a video on why Rigathi Gachagua doesn't like Fred Matiangi. He didn't hide his dislike for Fred Matiangi and, of course, the Jubilee Party. According to Rigathi Gachagua, Fred Matiangi should have created his own political party and not join an established party like Jubilee. And I shared with you reasons why Rigathi Gachagua has not been comfortable with Fred Matiangi. And in case you missed the video, I'll link it in the description below and also share it at the end screen. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems things have changed, or so we think, because of late, Rigathi and Fred Matiangi are back together. And the united opposition is no longer disunited. In fact, one of the opposition MPs was on, I think, Nation media, and they were saying that the differences that we were seeing between Rigathi and Fred Matiangi were what he calls siblings rivalry. Nothing more, nothing less, that the opposition is so united. But the question we must ask ourselves, and that is what I will answer in this video, is that what's changed? Just a few weeks ago, barely a few weeks ago, Rigathi was like, there are some people who are being used by Ruto. His people, Rigathi's people, were all over saying that Fred Matiangi was a project of William Ruto in the opposition. So what changed? How did they now move from a project now to be part of them? That is what I'll share with you in this video briefly, ladies and gentlemen. If it is a topic that interests you, continue watching. And if you do find value in our videos, consider subscribing to the channel so that we grow together. And also don't forget to like this particular video and share it with friends. Rigathi Gachagua has not hidden his dislike for Matiangi. And Matiangi has also not hidden that he is not the one that Rigathi Gachagua can control. So given a choice, Rigathi Gachagua prefers Kalonzo Musyoka because Kalonzo Musyoka is always willing to do anything to be loved. And especially when it is high-stake elections like the one we are having in 2027, Kalonzo Musyoka will even clean the boots, as you may, of any person who is going to support him. It is politics, and there is nothing out of the ordinary doing so. So, ladies and gentlemen, what has changed? Is Rigathi now friends with Fred Matiangi? Unfortunately, no. But what has happened is that the so-called united opposition is surviving on a thin thread. It can fail any day, and it is the only thing that makes Rigathi Gachagua relevant. If Rigathi Gachagua doesn't have the support of other people, let's say Kalonzo, Matiangi, Eugene, and others, he just becomes a bitter Kikuyu spokesperson. Nothing more. Nobody would take him seriously. But if he has the support of these people, then he is relevant, and what he says perhaps has a national importance or significance. And so Rigathi perhaps sat down with himself or his advisors, and they told him to tone down. Even his supporters who used to go to the media and attack Matiangi were told to tone down. Why? One, because without Matiangi in that coalition, then it is Rigathi Gachagua bossing around one Kalonzo Musyoka, because Eugene is at best disinterested or insignificant, with all due respect. So he needs somebody who gives people, the moderates, those who are not inclined to the tribal politics that Rigathi pursues. He needs Matiangi for that particular phase to help them look like they are not tribal, they are focused, because Matiangi has been painted like that. That is a focused public servant who just wants to save this country from the ills that this country has been facing under William Ruto. And so with Matiangi in your corner, you still look legitimate to this particular audience that wants somebody who is moderate and not tribal. That is why, one reason why I believe he was told to tone down. I think he was told to tone down even after his interview, because even in that interview, he was not very kind. The second reason is Uhuru Kenyatta. I think Rigathi Gachagua realized that if he goes head to head with Matiangi, that means he's going to go head to head with Uhuru Kenyatta. And that will take him back to square one, because Rigathi Gachagua has been moving from one market to the next, saying that Uhuru Kenyatta is their king that they never listened to. And now they are regretting not listening to Uhuru Kenyatta, that under him, nobody will oppose Uhuru Kenyatta, nobody will criticize Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta will never be insulted. So if he went ahead and started dismissing Jubilee as a red wheelbarrow, meaning a branch of William Ruto, painting Uhuru Kenyatta as somebody who has been bought, who is a mole, who is being used, then they are back to square one, where he is now fighting with Uhuru Kenyatta. And he has also realized that Uhuru Kenyatta also has still has some influence in Mount Kenya, even though not a lot, because most people are bitter with William Ruto, and the person who is speaking against William Ruto the most is Rigathi Gachagua. So they will be loyal to Rigathi Gachagua, not to Uhuru Kenyatta. But Uhuru Kenyatta still has some people who feel that Uhuru Kenyatta should speak for them as the community. They're still loyal to the Kenyatta dynasty, to put it bluntly. And Rigathi Gachagua feels like if he lets Uhuru Kenyatta go, he has given Ruto a chance to split the mountain. So he believes that by quoting Matiangi, by bringing Matiangi back, he is somehow going to get back into good graces with Uhuru Kenyatta, and even maybe strike a deal and reconcile, and maybe get the money for campaign from Uhuru Kenyatta. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I think is going on. If you asked me why Rigathi Gachagua changed his mind about Fred Matiangi, if you asked me why Rigathi toned down, he's no longer attacking Matiangi, he's no longer painting him as the mole, he's no longer calling Uhuru's party red wheelbarrow, it has two things. One, Matiangi gives the so-called opposition a neutral feel. People won't see it as a tribal gathering, because if Matiangi is also having a fair chance of winning, then people see that this opposition, Matiangi comes from a very small community, so if he has a fair chance of winning, then they see this as not a tribal alliance. And that is why Rigathi needs him back. Otherwise, they will just be a bit of Kikuyu with some people supporting him and nothing else. Second reason is Rigathi wants to be in good books with Uhuru Kenyatta, and they realize that he might have gone out of the way and said certain things that he cannot take back. So he has toned down, hoping that Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to have issues with him. The hope is that they mend fences and become friends again. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I wanted to tell you. If you found value in this video, let me know in the comment section below. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. Don't forget to like this video and share it with friends. Otherwise, if you want to know why Rigathi Gachagua really doesn't like Fred Matiangi, watch this video.